Hey everyone, my name is Darby and I work in Incubation Engineering at GitLab. Today is November 18th, 2021, and this is the DevOps for Mobile Apps demo. As always, I have an issue here that I've created for today's demo, and you'll be able to get to this issue from the description of the video below. As a quick reminder, we've got our mission here and our link to our handbook page, and the mission for this group is to make the experience for mobile engineers building a GitLab a better experience. And so that's what we're focused on. You can read about it in the handbook here, and you can also check out previous weekly demos on the weekly demos link here. So we'll jump right into this week's update. So today I'm going to talk about this feature that I'm speccing out called code signing in GitLab. And I've got two issues that I'm going to talk about here. One is about UX and one is about architecture. So we'll do the UX one first. And I've got a link to that issue right here, so you can follow along with the discussion there. The screenshot here, this is a mock-up that I made of potentially what this could look like. And this is just some early ideas that I wanted to get out there for some feedback. And essentially what this would be is adding a new section into the settings in a GitLab project. And this would allow a team to upload their either Android key stores or their provisioning profiles for iOS or their signing certificates, upload those into GitLab, and then make those files available to the runners that are running the build jobs or the signing jobs. And so this would be kind of that first step of getting the data into GitLab so that we can do more with it in the CI process down the line. And so this is some ideas about what this could look like. And for each of these different types of assets, the attributes are a little bit different. So in the case of the Android key store, there's two passwords and an alias name that get associated with that, as well as the file itself. Provisioning profiles, all of that data is just built into the file itself. And then I believe for signing certificates for iOS, there is an optional password, which I don't have in this mockup, but that's something that I'm looking into as well. So each of these is sort of a different thing, and so we probably need to treat it differently. The idea, though, here is to be able to visualize the data for that type of asset in the proper way. So in a provisioning profile, you would want to see maybe the team identifier, the bundle ID, the expiration date, things like that, versus an Android key store, which would be a little bit different. So, like I said, there's a link to this issue here. I'd love to get any feedback from folks if they have opinions on how this should work or how this should look. So yeah, that's where that kind of UX discussion is. And then the second issue I have here is about the architecture proposal. So this is how would this actually work within GitLab and the underlying data models and things like that. So within this issue, I've kind of sketched out some ideas, but basically the highlights are I'd be proposing a separate database-backed model for each type of asset. And I think that what this allows us to do is it gives us the ability to validate that. So in the case of Android, we would want to make sure that you have all the right properties associated with it, so the passwords and the alias and stuff, before we save that, because otherwise things aren't going to work downstream. So we would do that. We can also visualize it better. Sort of here, being able to see the bundle ID or the team identifier or things like that within GitLab would, I think, be very helpful. And then it would prevent confusion around like which file are we passing around, or what are the internals of that certificate or whatever. And then I think this could also set us up to be able to generate files ourselves later. So instead of having to build it on a local machine and then upload it to GitLab, we could literally just generate it within GitLab and put it right within the account. So those are some thoughts around that. And then when we do that, then we would add the ability to inject the relevant environment variables into the CI job. So in the case of a provisioning profile, you might just need the file. But in the case of an Android key store, you need the key store and the password and the alias password to all kind of pass through to the CI job. So we would want to be able to intelligently pass that information in to the runner. So I think we could do that by having this set up that way. There's the support that we don't have within GitLab right now is for binary files to be passed into CI jobs. And so there's going to need to be a change to the runner to support that. Right now we support text files, but binary files don't work in that context. So we'll need to figure out a way to work around that, or to get that to work. And then, yeah, then the last thing I have written here is we'll just start with one asset type and then prove out the concept and then roll out the others. So I think kind of starting with the Android file type probably makes a lot of sense. And then we can kind of incrementally roll out the other types as we go. So that's kind of the highlights there. There's already been some discussion in the architecture proposal, but obviously would love to get more input there as well. So please jump in there if you have anything to add. And then the last section I put in here, there's a couple sort of configuration or considerations that that I'm thinking about. Right now, this is purely focused on mobile, but maybe a more generalized code signing feature would make sense, and it would be an easy adjustment. I think the main area that I see missing right now is desktop app signing for Windows. I think the desktop signing for Mac can already be done with the similar process that mobile uses, but Windows is sort of not in that, not being considered right now. So I want to look into that. And then, there's also the idea about do we want to pass all this information to all runner jobs or just the ones that are needed for code signing? And so there's some discussion in the architecture issue about that as well. One suggestion was to limit it to protected branches, which we could do that. We could consider other ideas too, but really we don't need all of this stuff being shipped to every single job. It's only needed when we're trying to sign stuff. So, so those are things to consider. So then up next, there's kind of three things I want to focus on over the next iteration. So taking a little time to understand how the desktop signing works in Windows and seeing if that would be something that could be added into this without too much additional complexity. And then continue to iterate on the UX approach and start to work on a proof of concept to sort of like see if we can get this whole thing working end to end for sort of a test use case. So those will be the next items coming up. And that is all I have for this time. Thanks for watching and see you next time.